Everybody back for another episode. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to try to get this dash to fit in there. So I've got a little more welding to do on the front suspension, but we'll take a look at that, and we're going to hopefully by the end of this kind of have this dash mocked up in there. So let's see what we got.
No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
Okay, I need to pull my suspension parts back off and we'll finish the welding on those, and I need to re-drill. I need to finish drilling the holes for the I keep calling it a wishbone. Somebody else called it something else. What was it? Belt crank. For the belt crank, we'll call it that. That sounds more official than wishbone. So I got to drill holes for that, and I got to drill another hole for the either arm on the other side, but I need a extra long 7/16 bit, and I don't have one, and I'm not going out to get one today. So we'll get back on that tomorrow. Maybe I'll pick one up on the way home from work. But today I got this dash up here, and we are going to strip this thing down, kind of figure out where we're going to cut it. We've got the top dash pad in here, and it's about 3 inches too long, or 3 inches too short on each side, just a guess. And then it's got these swoopy things, the dash does too, and I think those would be like coming out past the doorway if I left those on there. So we're gonna figure out how to trim those down. And then here's my lip here is kind of where things got to go. So we're gonna be doing a fair amount of surgery to both these items to make it work. So let me strip all this out of here. I'll tell you what, this radio weighs a ton, because you got the radio headpiece there, and then over here you got like a speaker amplifier section. So there's a lot of parts to that thing. So we're gonna pull that out of there. That dash cluster weighs a lot. We're gonna pull that out of there, and we will go from there. So let me get all this stripped down. We'll take a look at the bare product, and we'll figure out where we're gonna slice and dice. Okay, so I've got this all stripped down, and it's much lighter now. And just looking at it, I mean, it's it definitely needs to be stretched. So let me kind of reposition the camera here. We're gonna hold this up there and kind of see what, try to get an idea of, maybe we can like do a little temporary mount up there, and we can figure out how we're going to stretch the thing. But let's take a look here just a second. All right, not the easiest angle to film in here, but let's see what we can do. So we want to go, definitely want to get the gauges over in front of the driver, so that's going to be over like that. And I don't know if you can see that end, we're definitely quite a bit short. So somehow we're going to have to put this thing up here to kind of figure out how we're going to do this. I can almost tell. So we're going to have to square off this end to get it over a little bit. Like that. So I'm going to be sitting up, so I want to make sure it's kind of flat so I can see the gauges, so I'm not looking down at them too much. Let's see. this thing kind of wraps into the dash on the Cadillac. So I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, this kind of goes out here and back in. So I think first thing we're probably gonna do, well, I know we're gonna get rid of this. So let's go up here. We may be patching some of this in, but we'll cut a line up to here, and then I think we'll whack off this piece over here because that's gonna be hanging way out into the doorway, and I don't want that. Hang on just a second. All right, the only place I can see to cut this and lengthen it is right here, because you got ashtray here, glove box here, ashtray here. They all kind of got lips that overhang each other, and then here it's all this curve. That would really be tough to, well, you know, I don't know. That may be the place to do it. See, it's got that kind of decorative grill that goes in here, and I'd like to, it'd be nice not to cut that up. And I could always eliminate an ashtray, I guess. It's like, I mean, heck uses ashtrays anymore. I could just take the ashtray metal and fill that over and cut here and extend here. I think that may be the thing to do. Yeah, that way I can kind of keep this piece unmolested somewhat. Okay, let me, like I said, this is all just kind of a guessing game at first. Let me get a marker. I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna get a marker and mark up here, and I'm just gonna tack weld a little piece of something there so we can, excuse me, screw that other brace onto there and just kind of get it sitting in one place. So then we can figure out how that side's going to go. So, all right, back in just a minute here. Okay, so this piece, it's like a trim piece, and I'd really like to not, I mean, I'm going to be cutting off the end, but I'd rather not cut it in half. So if we whack some off this end, you know, it's got these lines in it, we can sort of kind of make that look decent. But I'd like to keep it here in one piece. If I cut it there, then I'm gonna have to put something in there to fill it. So I think what I am gonna do is we're gonna cut here, and we're gonna put in, we're gonna stretch a piece in here. But the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of even this end up. So these are gonna have to go away. So, and this whole thing, just being in there looking at like where the hole for the steering column was, which was where I figure it's gonna need to be, this kind of indentation where the steering column was, to center the gauges, I need to go this way a little bit. So we're gonna take some off of here. And this is a complete and total guess on how much. And afterwards, how we're gonna put it back, you know, kind of do the ends up to make it look nice. But that's cool. We'll figure all that out. So I think I'm gonna go this. Let's just do that. Well, this thing kind of turns, so it's a little tough to figure out what you're gonna do here. But we take off something we shouldn't have took off, we'll just weld it back on, or weld something else back on. So we'll cut this, and then we're gonna figure out what to do here. we're not going to be going for a nice, fully restored, painted Cadillac looking dash. It's going to be probably bare metal. I'll probably just knock the paint off of it, clear it. I'm sure we'll be putting stuff where it wasn't before. I'm not going to try to get all the original controls working. I would like the speedometer to work. There's a fuel gauge and there's a temperature gauge in there. I'm kind of wondering if I can either make those work or update them with some guts from some aftermarket gauges. I've kind of done that before. So here, what I'm gonna have to do, there's a brace back here, which is fine here, but it attaches here to this part I need to cut. So I'm going to weld a little piece on there so that I can cut this. Actually, can I just go ahead and cut that and then weld a little piece? Yeah, I can do that. So let's cut this. Now I just need to attach this to this so I can cut that there. Roll the welder over here on a little piece of scrap. That'll work. On 5, that'd blow a big hole. That'll work. Okay. Now, let's cut this thing. You're gonna cut. Let's see. I want to save that piece there. Let's do that is where we're going to stretch it. So, let's take this, and I need to bracket here somewhere. Piece one. Radio mount. So we need to weld something on that firewall. We can do that. I'm just going to tack it, just something to hold this thing. And I can screw down that way. Yeah, I can run a self-tapper down here like that. And we will go from there. Alright, back in just a sec. Okay, so we've got this piece in here, and we're definitely going to have to do some construction over here. I think we may just, you know, on that end there is this piece here. So this piece was here with the headlight switch on it. So I think we may just might end up eliminating that. I don't know. But we're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to bring this over to here and kind of box it in and make it smooth, do a little slice in here to bring that over. And but I like where the pod is sitting. I just got a little tack over here and some clamps over there. And so what I'm gonna have to do is take this piece that I cut off and probably not cut as much off of this as I did, but this is the dash pad, and this was padded, but we're just gonna leave this bare metal and take the padding off of it. So this went in like this. So we're just gonna whack part of that off, and then I think a lot of this back in here, a lot of this depth is gonna go away. I don't think it's gonna be as deep. And we'll have to do a little changing on the gauges. So like the gauge panel is, the depth of it is good, except it's got these big old long honker things on the side. So this one has got a fan switch built in it right there. So that thing is long. All this weird mechanism just to operate your fan, and then this was like your heater cable and your vents and your defrost cable. And then over on this side, this was just like a floor vent, and it's got the same deal. It had a switch over here for something, some kind of motor, I'm assuming, and then you had 3 cables back here. So we'll get rid of that too, and we'll probably have to come up with some other kind of just one of those little under dash hot rod aftermarket heaters, or like an old 40s or 50s truck heater, you know, the kind, just a little box with the heater coil and the fan that mount down on the dash. We'll probably have to do something like that. So okay, so from here, let's see, let's go ahead and kind of do the same to this side. We want to cut this off. One thing I realized over here is this is at an angle, so I thought this was straight. It actually comes out at an angle, does the same over there. So I'm gonna have to, instead of cutting this straight, we're gonna have to kind of cut it that way. So I want to get that off there, and I want to figure out where this piece is gonna go over there, and then we're gonna have to make a piece for in the middle. So okay, so let me get this cut, get a couple of braces out so we can get it mounted over there, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do in the middle of it. Okay, so here's where we are. We had to extend this thing 10.5 inches. No, 10 inches. So got that piece bent. We got that tacked in there, and whacked a little off the end over there. And next thing we're going to do is try to fit it up to this piece here and see if we can make it flow nice and smooth across there, which hopefully we can. So let me figure out how I'm gonna, and we're gonna do some little temporary mounts on that half, and we'll get it up there. Okay, so I kind of changed gears here a little bit. I was gonna I had this piece mounted, and I was gonna mount this piece and then try to put a filler piece in, but it's I've done dashes before. I haven't stretched one, but I've cut some out of the middle before, and I think it works better if you build it on the bench and get it straight and then try to put it up in there. So we're gonna do that, and this is my filler piece I got made. So we got this side tacked in. We need to get this side tacked in, and then I'll probably knock all the old paint off here. Thinking about I know the column is not going to come up through here anymore, so we may put a filler piece over that, just so you don't got that big hole in there. Okay, so let's do that, and once we get that done, I'm gonna make a couple of brackets for the side so we can bolt this thing in. And so before I do that, I need to knock some of this paint off the inside of this. Yeah, and I didn't like that brace I had there in the middle. It was really too close to that wiper motor, so we're going to tweak a little bit in here and go from there. So let me get this thing welded up, and we will take another look at it. All right, well, it's upside down, but I got all the paint knocked off, and we got this welded and got this ground down. I think it looks good. And it's came out good and straight. So we're gonna make some brackets because I want to bolt this dash in there instead of welding it in. I want to make some brackets so I can take it out if I need to. And I'm pretty sure I am going to fill this over, but I'm going to wait for now until I get this in there, get the top of it figured out, and until I get to where I know the steering column is going to be setting before I do that. But for now, I think we're in pretty good shape to set this in there. So let me let's get up in there, take this back out, and we'll just kind of set it up in there, make some preliminary marks where we're gonna make some brackets and kind of go from there. Okay, so let's figure this out here. And it does fit the hole. That's good. That's very good. And I'm gonna have to trim a little bit off over there. That's okay. We can do that. Trying to figure out where I want to put some mounting brackets. Let's do one like here. I like to do it on the inside so you don't see it, but I don't know if that's going to work or not. Probably not. Let's do over there. I'll put it there. Let's go. Yeah, I need to knock a little bit off that. Once I get those screwed in, get those bolted in, then I can kind of figure out where we're going here. Okay. I know what I want to do. I'm going to take a little off that corner, and we're just going to put some L brackets here and there, and we'll self-tapper that in, get it straight as we can get it, and then I'll just put some kind of strap up here just to hold the top, and then we kind of need to figure out, so I stretch this, I'm going to have to stretch the top too, and I have to cut the corners off the top, and the top is going to have to sit right on this ledge in a little bit, because the window gasket has to have room there. So, yeah, let's figure that out too. All right. Oh. Okay, so we got it in there. It's a little on the crooked side. I gotta put a brace in the middle. It's kind of sagging in the middle because of the weight. And then we just got to kind of twist around on it and get it in shape. But before we do that, I need to cut this top, and we're going to cut it in here somewhere, and we'll have to stretch it. And then obviously this much depth we're not going to need anymore, so I'm going to kind of have to figure out where to cut this thing, and we need to clean it all up, and the ends will come off. So we'll get I'm gonna get a couple of braces on there first just to kind of steady that up, and get the measurement from the bottom the same on both sides, and then we'll do the top, and we'll kind of get it pre-fitted and see where we go from there. But so far so good. I'm digging it, you know. Over there on the corner where this is hanging over, we're definitely gonna do something different here. Like you can see, this corner is hanging over, so It's gonna go up, but we're gonna try to get rid of some of this curve and just kind of bring this into this. So I gotta figure out exactly how to do that. But yeah, we're getting there. Okay, so that's it for tonight. We'll pick this back up probably tomorrow. Morning, everybody. So it is Saturday, and it is a blistering 5 degrees outside. So I got the heater cranking in here, and I'm kind of curious as to how long it's gonna last, because I got one of those 100-pound bottles, you know, not real big. I just don't have room outside for a big 200 or 300-pound tank, and I've been using it quite a bit. So we're gonna see if it runs the whole day or not. I'm gonna stay out here and work as long as it'll run, but we'll see what happens. So this is supposed to be the last super cold day, so hopefully it'll make it through the day. And it's one of those tanks I gotta unhook, put in the back of the truck, haul up to the farm store, and get filled back up, and then haul it back and hook it back up. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to do it, but hopefully it'll last through the day. Anyway, let's see where we're at this morning. All right, so here's where I left off a couple of days ago. And so what we need to do is I need to make some kind of braces on this thing to kind of hold the top of it. And I got to get this top cleaned up and cut and figure out where it's going to go. And I need some braces on the bottom. We just, you know, need to solidify the thing. I got these ends to do. We got to do something with this to, you know, I'm thinking of cutting this and bringing it in so it's kind of flush with this when we close the door. And then same on the other side. That's got that big sweep to it, so we're gonna have to get rid of that. But that's the goal for today. Kind of get the dash more or less finalized of how it's gonna mount in there, all the brackets, the top, yada yada. And then I can pull it back out. I got a million holes in this firewall to patch. Some more welding to do around that. But once all this is done, I can pull that out and do that. And then from there, where are we gonna go? We're gonna finish this roof joint, and I'm getting real close to trial fit on the motor, and that's kind of the ultimate goal to get to. I would really love to take this thing on power tour. I know it's usually in June or July, usually in June. So I mean, I don't have to do any body work and paint it, and the motor's together. I really think I can make it if we stay on it. So, but we got the camper to do too. So anyway, we'll stop talking and get to work. Let me make up a couple of braces here, see where they're gonna go, and we'll check back in shortly. All right, so I got this cleaned up. Just took the old flapper wheel, knocked the foam and the rust off of it. And we'll just treat that with some rust inhibitor and probably clear coat it. So we need to section this thing. We're gonna cut it right here, and I need to cut this whole thing off here. Need those again later. I'm sure everybody knows this, but when you're grinding, don't stand right up close where the sparks are flying on you, because you can catch on fire. Ask me how I know. It's happened more than once. Stand off to the side. If anybody's old enough to remember Richard Pryor's one comedy skit where he said, when you were on fire and running down the street, people get out of your way. All right, let's see how this fits. Great position. So I'm thinking of upgrading from iPhone camera to a GoPro. If anybody out there has one or uses one, if you could give me some advice on that, that'd be awesome. Where'd this thing go? There it goes, just like that. No, it don't seem right though. I thought it had to go. Up these little tabs here had to go under there, but no, there's no place to bolt those on. I just need to get rid of those. I need to trim a little corner off here. Hang on just a second. Okay, so kind of interesting revelation here. This top does not really fit this dash. Now I bought this dash from a guy on Marketplace, and he said it was a 55. And then I bought this top off of eBay. And it's supposed to be a 56, so I thought it's going to be exactly the same, but there are some, this does not quite fit over this. I'm going to have to do a little bit of trimming there to get it to where it's kind of fits down good over that and follows that curve, but it's kind of there. And then, but it sits out much further than what I thought it was going to. So there's like some holes under here, and then there's some screw holes here. I thought those lined up, but those don't. There must be another piece that went in there. Or like I said, this just isn't the right top for this thing. So I think what we're going to do is kind of do the same thing we did with the dash and stretch this thing on the bench. I'm going to get a rough idea how long I need to make it. I know we want to go there. I'm going to have to make some end pieces for it. We're going to have to cap this end. Not a big deal. If I'm there, and then let's say and it's going to have to be out further. And then I'm going to have to make a piece to go back here. So we're just going to kind of have to do a little guesstimating on this thing. Get a tape. It turned into a bigger ordeal than what I thought. Well, I mean, I've stretched the dash 10 inches. So I guess it would make sense to stretch the top 10 inches. And do the make it fit from there. Okay, so let me pull this thing back out. I'm going to cut a piece of metal. This is going to be a really fun bend to make. But I think I can do it. I don't know if I'll do it on the roller or or how we're going to do that exactly. But then I don't know if you can see with that sitting out further over here, we're going to have to make a, let's take a look on this side. So it's going to be out in here somewhere. I'm going to have to make a piece, a filler piece to come from here to here, and then a filler piece to go from there to there. So yeah, the 1950 dash into the 1990 something body is definitely an interesting project here, but we're gonna make it work. By gosh, we got this far, we're gonna finish it. So okay, let me get the piece made and we'll see if we can get this thing to bend and get it stretched. And I need to look how long this video is going too, because I don't want to run a 2-hour video on a dash stretch. So all right, back in a few. Okay, so we got this stretched 10 inches. I'll tell you what, that was a tough bend to make because it's such a tight radius, but I just kind of rolled it in the roller for a little bit and then stuck it in the bender, but didn't clamp the bender down on it, just kind of, you know, used it for leverage to push up, and then use a pair of hand sheet metal pliers to tweak it, and I think we're all right. So I'm gonna put a couple of braces in here to kind of get this thing is leaning forward. I want to get it back a little more, and I've kind of got that brace in the wrong spot, so we're gonna move that back and then try to get one on each side just to kind of get a level, because it's kind of twisted down on this end and not real good here, and then I need one in the middle. So let me do that, and then we'll throw this top on there and see what we got to do to make it work. Okay, better for sure. So
for more information about the Highway of Tears and ways to support the search for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls,
I'm gonna have to figure out a cap for over here and a cap for over there. I need to make a piece there. And in here, I need a filler piece. I gotta go from here to here. And I'm not sure. I thought about cutting this off and butt welding that all the way down, but I don't think I want to do that. I think I'm just gonna bend a piece to go along here, go under this, screw it to that. We'll just knock the rust out of that, get the old staples and stuff out of here, and we'll just leave that unfinished. So and then that should give me plenty of room to get the window gasket in there. All right, so let's take a little lunch break here, and then I got to figure out which piece. I think I'm going to do this piece, this filler piece under here first, because I want to get the angle right on this before I make this piece here. So we're coming along, so it's looking good. Back in a bit. All right, so we've got some braces in here. I got one there, and I got one here, and I got one over there, and this dash is like rock solid in this thing now. So now that it is sitting where it needs to sit, we're going to I need to extend this lip out about 2 inches. I'm guessing there was like another filler piece in there when, you know, that top mounted to that we just don't have, so we're just going to make a piece. Like I said, we're going to go out 2 inches there, lay it all the way around, and then we'll mark it and cut it off if we need to. But we're going to want to get that piece in, and then I want to get this back filler piece in. And then all we're gonna have to do is dress up the ends and make them look better. But it's that thing's in there now, so that's good. Like the way it's looking. I think it's gonna be pretty cool. So all right, back in a few. Okay, that is gonna be it for this video. We got quite a bit done. I got this end of this dash capped over here. I still need to make a cap for the our transition piece for the to the top. But kind of got the Cadillac insert back in there. And then over on this side, we got the, I got a little end piece made for this. Same thing, we'll have to make a little end piece, transition piece for that top of the dash. But all in all, I think it looks pretty good. I think we're going to take that big open space in the middle where we stretched it, and I will probably put a headlight switch in there, since it used to go on the other side and there's not room for it anymore. So we'll probably put a headlight switch, and notice this thing does not have an oil pressure gauge. It's got a temperature gauge and it's got a gas gauge. So we're going to try to keep those where we're at. So we'll just put another gauge in the middle there, maybe a volt gauge too. Put a few things there if we got any switches we need, you know. Okay, so yeah, I dig it. I think it looks good. And still some work to go. Once I get these pieces made, then I can unbolt it and take it out and do my finish welding on it and do the work I need to do underneath. But cruising along. So that'll be it for this video. Let's go inside, get a word from the Lord, and then we'll pick it up on the next one. Hey everybody, thanks for coming along on video the last couple days, and I think we got pretty much done. I'm pretty happy with that dash, and I think it's going to look cool. So, and we'll get some finished work done on that this week. I know the temperature is going to come up a little bit, so I need to kind of get back on a few camper things too. So anyway, message for today. Was on, I can't remember, was I talking to somebody on a chat or what exactly it was, but somebody in the last few days had said to me, a skeptic, that they didn't understand the two different gods. That in the Old Testament, you know, God was all about warfare and killing and all this, and then in the New Testament, Jesus was pacifist. And I said, well, you know, it is the same God, you know. And I said, for one, I don't agree that God was all about war and killing. You know, there were definitely sinful people and sinful societies that were taken off of the earth because of their disobedience, and because you know, they were in with or ruled by Satan. But in the same sense, Jesus also was not strictly a pacifist. And it's funny because after just like 2 days after having that conversation, I ran into this article in my Bible about did Jesus teach an ethic of pacifism? So I figure somebody's telling me to talk about this. So let's just kind of run through this real quick. And this was in the book of Luke. Chapter 22 is where this article is in the Apologetic Study Bible. And it says, some claim Jesus taught a pacifist ethic, thereby suggesting that Christians must be pacifists also. But while Jesus was no warmonger, he was also no pacifist, and he never taught an ethic of pacifism. Jesus is the Prince of Peace, but the peace he offers is the kind that reconciles sinners to God. This is very different than the idea of civil nonviolence. Jesus did not come to rid a fallen, sinful world of war. He did not call his disciples to pursue nonviolence. Pacifists, however, read nonviolence into every New Testament use of the word peace, which is incorrect. And the only place in which Jesus addressed the concept in the pacifistic sense of non-aggression, he denied teaching a pacifist ethic. Instead, he said, don't assume that I came to bring peace on the earth, peace, nonviolence. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. That's Matthew 10:34. Jesus also assumed that kings must sometimes go to war, and he taught that those who do are wise to consider whether they can win. That's Luke 14:31-32. Take a read at that. Jesus also did not himself practice an ethic of non-aggression when he drove the money changers from the temple with a whip. John 2:15. Christian pacifists make much of Jesus rebuking Peter's use of the sword and going to the cross without resisting. And if you remember that, they were in the Garden of Gethsemane, and the soldiers came to get Jesus. Peter picks up the sword. He's going to fight for Jesus. He whacks off one of them's ear, and Jesus says, put the sword down. Now, it was not because Jesus was teaching a doctrine of non-aggression. He was there to fulfill his mission. That was part of his mission, that the soldiers would take him and crucify him, and Peter was getting in the way. So that's what that one was about. And it says that, but they misinterpret these events in ways that contradict instructions Jesus gave his disciples earlier that evening, and they wrongly formulate a new ethic based on a single unique circumstance. Just a few hours before rebuking Peter, Jesus instructed his disciples to go buy swords for use in defending themselves when needed after he left, Luke 22:36. I had not recalled that passage. I went back and read it, and that's exactly what it's talking about. So in rebuking Peter, Jesus was not renouncing violence, but was rather stopping Peter from interfering with his mission to save sinners. Jesus then went to the cross without resisting, not because he was introducing a new pacifist ethic, but rather because he was the Lamb of God and takes away the sins of the world in a manner that the prophets foretold. Finally, we must not forget Jesus in the New Testament is the same God as the Old Testament, and this is what I was talking about earlier. Ethics in the Bible come from revealing the character of God who never changes, and there's several good passages listed here. Psalm 102:27, Malachi 3:6. This means the character and ethics of Jesus cannot be different from the established character and ethics of God. God in the Old Testament held that war is sometimes necessary, so Jesus did too, which is what Hebrews means by saying Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. Jesus came to save sinners, not introduce an ethic of pacifism that in a sinful world destroys the role of God assigned to governments to fulfill. So, a very good article, I think, and it's, God is not calling us to not defend ourselves. He may call us sometimes to defend our faith, to defend our church, to defend our families. It has to be ordained by Him. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. Again, I encourage everybody to pick this Bible up. A lot of good stuff in here. A lot of good articles in here. We'll just kind of keep going over them as we run across them. And I hope you like that message. So good stuff there. So let's have a quick word of prayer and we'll be out of here. Father, I thank you for today. I want to pray for those who are dealing with the extreme cold across the country, that you would protect them and keep them furnaces working, and especially people like the homeless who are out dealing with this kind of cold, is for protection and sustenance for them. And just that we would always be willing and ready to listen to the mission and the purpose that you give us, regardless of what that may be. And we ask this in the name of your precious Son, Jesus. Amen. All right, hit like, hit subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment. And we'll be back with another video next week. Don't know if it's going to be camper. Don't know if it's going to be van truck. But it'll be one of them. So catch you on the next one.